Hey, g'day! In this video I've got 5 good gold farms for you. All of these can be done by any class, but some will be easier than others. Some will also give more gold per hour than others. Which are which? Keep watching and find out. Farm 1. The Wastewanders of Tanaris. There are 3 types of mobs we'll be fighting. The Wastewander Shadow Mages are casters. They're going to shoot shadow bolts and immolates at you. But as casters, they'll also die very fast, especially to physical DPS, like my melee hunter here. They also will come with a Voidwalker minion, which is a little tankier than they are, but also does very little damage. The second is the Wastewander Rogue. These have a backstab, so make sure you don't get hit from behind if you can help it. But the main annoying thing they do is stealth. You just have to be a little careful that you don't get more of them than you expect. And then finally, we'll kill the Wastewander Assassins. These have an execute that deals heavy damage if you get hit below 20% HP. In this clip, you'll see I've accidentally pulled an extra rogue that I didn't see because it was in stealth, and I do get a little low. When I get to around 24%, I actually wing clip and back away. Normally, 24% life would be plenty, but against an executor, not so much. So, what do we get for farming these? The main thing we're looking for is the formula Enchant Cloak Agility. It says a 2% drop chance of the assassins, and the price of these will vary quite a bit. When I was doing it, the market price was 45 gold, hence my overinflated gold per hour number here in the Kiwi farm on the left. But realistically, it's more likely going to be going for much less than that. What I do, check your server's auction house prices to see if this farm is going to be good. Also, I did kill 110 mobs in 1 hour, and I got one. Not all of them were assassins, of course, so I wouldn't expect to get one every hour. And then the other things you're going to get are Mage Weave Cloth and Wastewander Water Pouches. And these pouches can be turned in for scrolls, potions and food, or they can be sold on the auction house. Farm 2. The Whelps of Wetlands. Now, for this one, I'm not going to go through the mobs and their abilities. What I'll do is I'll let the clip speak for itself. Yeah, we're basically one-shotting these. They're only level 25, so they pose no challenge to us whatsoever. In 1 hour, I was able to kill 390 of them. So, what are we hoping to get? The main thing is small flame sacks, which are used for Dragon Breath Chili and Fire Protection Potions. Now, we'll probably be going for about 1 gold each or just under it for this farm to really be worth it. And in this hour, I only got 18, which ended up being about a 5% drop chance, but Wellhead says that it should be more like 10%, so either I was unlucky or their stats are wrong. You can also get the tiny Crimson Whelpling, but it's an extremely low chance, and I didn't happen to get one this hour. That said, when you're killing almost 400 mobs per hour, yeah, it will drop eventually. Then, who knows what it's going to sell for? Probably not all that much, but it can just make a nice little bonus. And then the third thing you'll get is a bunch of junk. Now these mobs you're fighting, they count as dragons, and dragons have a higher than usual drop chance for greens, so you're going to be getting heaps of low level greens to disenchant or to vendor. And as well as that, lots of greys, vendor trash. Overall, this farm, it isn't quite as good as the other ones on average, but it is also kind of fun one-shotting mobs. Farm 3. Hinterlands Trolls. There are a few camps of trolls in the Hinterlands, but I find this one to be the best. There's one to the west with slightly lower level mobs, but there's just not quite enough of them, so you end up running out and you have to wait for respawns. And then there's one to the east with slightly higher level mobs, but those, they're just a little bit too slow and inefficient to kill. I find the middle camp is just right. So we're going to be fighting 2 types of mobs here. The Witherback Venom Bloods, they're just basic melee mobs, except they do put a little bit of a poison on you. It does moderate damage. It's nothing too fancy, except if you're a hunter, you probably want to invest in a couple of points into nature resistance on your pet. And then the other sort is Witherbark Hide Skinners, and they also have a different poison, but no other relevant abilities. So you can just hang out at this little camp here, you make loops around the hill and the camp, and you should be killing about as fast as they respawn. After 1 hour, I'd killed 145 of the mobs, and I ended up getting 9 Wildvine, 61 Mage Weave, 14 Long Elegant Feathers, and 63 Troll Necklaces. And the main thing we're caring about is the Wildvine. It should be going for around a gold or 2 each. Although I would say that the Mage Weave is also nice. The Long Elegant Feathers, they're used for a quest next phase. You can consider saving them to sell next phase, or they do vendor for a bit too. The Troll Necklaces, you get a lot of these, but they're currently worthless. They're for an Alliance only quest that gives repeated experience and reputation, but the developers have said that they're going to nerf all of the repeated experience quests, and the reputation, it's for a faction that currently doesn't do anything. But personally, what I'm doing is I'm hoarding them just in case they make that faction do something in Season of Discovery next phase. It's the sort of thing they might do. And I'd only be vendoring them otherwise, so I might as well just chunk them in the bank. If I'm wrong, I'll just vendor them later. Farm 4. Dark Iron Ordinances. So the idea here is that people will still need these ordinances for every ult that they make. But very few people actually think to bother to farm them still. The prices, they actually can sometimes go pretty high. When I was doing this, they were going for almost 1 gold each. The mobs here, they're super easy to kill, being so much lower level than us, and you should be able to farm around 20 of the ordinances per hour. Also, as elites, they're going to give greater than usual raw silver and lots of low level BOE greens and cloth. So your bags might fill up pretty quickly. Fortunately, there is a vendor here, the Dark Iron Entrepreneur, in the inn of their little town. Overall, after 1 hour, I'd killed 116 dwarves and I got 20 ordinances. And when I included up in the junk, I ended up about 30 gold richer. Definitely do check the prices of ordinances first. If they are really cheap, like 30 silvers or something, don't bother. But if they do get high, because no one's farmed them for a while, it can become a pretty good gold farm. And I would also say that the same thing is true for the Shredder turbochargers that are needed for the same rune quest. You'd also want to just keep a bit of an eye on them and farm them when they get high. Farm 5. Wintersbite in Alterac Mountains. Also, Mithril in Alterac while we're at it. For this farm, we're going to need at least herbalism, and it's much better if we have mining as well. We'll start by heading to the Ogre Cave to the east, picking any flowers that we can find on the way. When we arrive at the cave, we're checking for 2 things. Any iron or mithril spawns, assuming we're mining, and also the rare spawn Logrash, who can drop a rare BOE. After that, we're going to head north a little bit more, and we're going to check the northern cave. It's going to be another spawn for that rare spawn Logrash, and it can also have mining in it. Then we're going to hop the wall into the elite ogre territory. We're going to check Broken the Goblin for frost oil recipe, which we can sell in the auction house for a bit of a profit if we find it. We'll then head south, try and avoid ogres somewhat, but they're also not particularly threatening to us, they're just level 38 elites. Pick any flowers and mine any ore that you can, and then check the southern Yeti cave for a little bit more ore, and then we're just going to head right back to the start spot and make a loop. This route is going to take us pretty nicely around all of the herbs and ores, and as well as we get a chance to check on a rare spawn basically for free, and we can also have the opportunity to pick up a vendor recipe that we can sell for a nice profit from time to time. Overall, after 1 hour, it ended up being just under 50 gold. And that's 50 gold per hour that I'd actually consider pretty realistic. I actually didn't quite have the mining skill required to mine Mithril when I first started. I just leveled it up during the hour, so you'd likely get a little bit more Mithril and solid stone than I did. I also didn't see Logrash the rare ogre. He is a pretty long spawn timer, and people do tend to go for him quite a bit. I wouldn't focus on it too much, really just treat it as a nice surprise if he's there. I also got a little vendor trash from some of the ogres I killed. How much of that you'll get will just depend on how many ogres you stop and kill along the way. And that's it. 5 farms that you can make from 20 to 50 gold per hour. With gold farming, I find it's best in general to check out first what is going cheap or expensive on your server, and then to target that farm that's going to match what's selling for the most. All of these farms, they can be done by any class, although being a strong DPS will help for a lot of them. If you did want to see some really crazy hunter-specific farms, I also have some of those coming up soon. It's going to involve kiting massive packs of dungeon elites with frost trap and explosive shot. But until next time, bye for now.